hit recording. So we is recording. We are going to do the new Celtic Cross version of the Celtic Cross today, the true Celtic Cross thing. So that's where we're going. And Mika, if you would take notes, I'd appreciate that. Fred is here. Hola, Fred. Glad to see you. It is nice. Now I'll do is bring Deb in here. Say, where the hell is Deb? Oh my God, if you guys weren't here for that, and most of you weren't, that's too bad. We had good times. But you know what? The thing about good times is we will make new good times. Because we've had a lot of good old times. And Fred was here for many of them. Is that working? I don't know. Oh, it is. Yay. So we're doing something new and unique and special today. Well, not new, but I don't generally show the public this, so this would be kind of new. Anybody has any questions, fire them up and smoke them if you got them. Because we are about to do this. As soon as I... Hey, are you ready? No. Are you ready to rock? No. Okay, fine. Hold on. Okay, now I'm ready to rock. So, where are we at? Thank you, everybody, for being here. If this is your first time, and it looks like there's one or two new people here. Happy Mother's Saturday Eve, Mother's Eve. Happy Mother's Eve, all you mothers, and all you others. Wait, this is bothering me. Sorry about that. My mic might make a little noise, and I will try not to have it so, because I know that's annoying here. Just set that up. Why is this making? I hope you can't hear that. I can hear it. Stop doing that. All right. Well, it's not going to stop, is it? Give me 1 second to pin this out of the way so it stops being annoying. Right. Hopefully that should be good. Hopefully y'all can hear me. We're going to be doing something new and happy and fun and skippy today. And this message is brought to you by... Oh, no. Where's my desktop background? Yes, this message is brought to you by the truth. Yes. All right. That being done, let's get into this. So, yay, Jennifer. Earlier in the students only section, we were talking we were talking about the modified, or what I call the true Celtic Cross, and you'll understand why in a bit. Let me check to see if this is actually rather large. So I am going to take this down a bit, and I think I'll change colors. Maybe make that like a 7. It's a little bit large. All right, sorry everybody. I'm being a little picky here, but we will get into this in just a moment. Click and click. Let's take it down to like a 4, and then I'll be done with it and stop screwing around. Okay, 3. Done. 3. I like that. And let's get rid of that orange. I've been doing too much of that. How about that? Sure, why not? Easy on the eye, not too bad. So we were talking about Arthur Edward Waite and his ancient 10-card spread. You'll have to forgive my crappy artwork. And oops, that's not right. There we go. His ancient 10-card Celtic Cross spread. Now, that in essence is the quote traditional Celtic Cross, and there are various ways to make it go around. Dusty's version, not the one I invented, but the first one I learned, and I'm glad I did, follows what has been described as a Fibonacci spiral, which I like. And there's reasons for this, because when we use this, we can do the past, present, future, past, present, future, bumpy ride, smooth ride. Is your strength stronger or weaker than your field? Than your strength is Are your passions stronger than your fears? We can do causality to end result. We can do cause and effect. There's all different types of hidden spreads we can do, and you all know it's in the black book. But for those who weren't here, and because this will be let out to the public, I want to talk about this time in 1909. Now, excuse me, on December 10th, that's the date that we have, the Roses and Lilies tarot deck was shown at an art show. And then later on in spring of 1910, that would be March, end of March to the beginning of April, what happened is that the key to the tarot, which also was prepared here, that and the official William Ryder and Son Ltd. This would be son because William Ryder had died back here, and his son had been carrying on since this time. So William Ryder and Son, father dies, son keeps running it, and then somewhere around 1920, 1930, we have to research that because the details are vague, became Ryder and Company. So when we talk about the Ryder deck or the Waite Smith deck, or the modern version of these decks is called the Rider Waite deck, made by US Games, or the blah 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 deck, whatever they want to call it, made by Los Scarabeo, or the blah 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 made by any number of companies out in the world. So when we're talking about that, we're talking about the original was done right here. And at the time of this publication, and of course, this for the public, so 1909, 1910, that's why we say 1909, 1910. We're talking like the last 20 days, 21 days specifically, of December, and then all of 1910. So 1909, 1910, terms are somewhat interchangeable, but not hyper specifically if you want to be an exact. So when we're talking about this Celtic Cross, it appeared in the 1909 through present version of the Key to the Tarot, which had been expanded to the pictorial Key to the Tarot, because in 1910, again, right around this November, and then officially in March and April of 1911, the pictorial Key to the Tarot, they just added pictures and rephrased that and made it bigger. So the Key to the Tarot, that big, pictorial Key to the Tarot, that big, blue book, orange book, snaky on it, and then later no snaky. Same thing here, snaky, and then later on no snaky. So in these books here, this is where the quote ancient 10 card spread originated. The problem was back in 1909, back in my day, so this would be called the past. We had something appearing called the Celtic Cross spread, which Waite, let's call him Art, at the time called the ancient 10 card method of divination. The problem is it couldn't be an ancient 10 card method of divination that the Celts used, because the Celts used the Ogham. They did not use cards that were invented in 1438, give or take a couple of years. That was the I want to say Council of Nicene, it wasn't. I have something earlier, right? It's like 1,000 years ago. No, that was the of the Medici families. Medici, awesome dudes. Brought everybody to Florence, and like, hey, look at all this stuff, and oh, look, here comes tarot deck. So right around there is when the cards were invented, and then around 1789, what's his name? De Jablin says, oh yeah, the tarot cards come from Egypt. Lie, lie, lie. And then 1790, um, what is it? Itea Ayat, who's now Itea because he spelled his name backwards because that's what you did when you want to be cool. He was like, oh yeah, I'm the world's first tarot card reader. Well, of course, he was a cartomantist, and then oh yeah, Egypt, and then Jean Baptiste, also known as Paul Christian, was like, oh yeah, tarot cards from Egypt. They're the major arcana, and the minor. Oh, nobody cares about those because they're not even illustrated. They're just a bunch of sticks. We'll call those the minor arcana, the major secrets of Egypt, and the minor secrets of Egypt. And folks, to this day, that's why we have the quote major arcana and the quote major arcana, arcana, potato, and things of this nature. So it couldn't be ancient because this was all very continental, very French, Italian, German, Spanish, to some extent Austrian, but mostly German and Spanish and a whole lot of French. Marseille was like, ooh, that's why the quote tarot of Marseille is so popular because it's a hotbed of tarot production. Like every dog and pony show had their own little tarot manufacturing thing, and a couple of different artists redoing the same exact designs over and over and over. We're not going to have any of that. We're Brits, don't you understand? We have our own thing. But we're going to take your Roman Catholicism and we're going to steal it and we're going to change everything Celtic into here's a Celtic cross and here's a Roman Celtic cross. Ooh, get it? See what we did? We kind of added a tail here to stick in the ground. And of course, the story is that this all originated by the Turks would stick their swords into the ground, to keep the zombies from coming up. As they came alive, they'd poke their heads in the swords. Long story about that, but you research that in your own time. So in 1909, we had the art basically lied and said, oh yeah, here's a old method of divination. Okay, fine. And he did the spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch. Ring, 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 ring. Yeah. And then, oh, by the way, here's a couple extra cards. What the hell is that? Well, it couldn't be ancient and Celtic and Catholic at the same time because the Celts weren't Catholic and only the modern Celts were Catholic because you believe in Jesus. Do you have a flag? It's like, no, well, I have a flag and it's just got a cross on it. It's got a Celtic cross on it. So you will call me Eddie and worship my God. So we couldn't have that. So this isn't all about wah, wah, wah. Art lied, but he did. So the point is that this version of the Celtic cross that you'll see in a lot of times has been plagiarized over and over and over. Intellectual property be damned. People just said, screw it. I'm just going to write this stuff over and over and over. Well, some young ass punk ne'er-do-well named Dusty White, after about 35 years of study and practice and about 15 years of teaching the stuff, and he's like, I'm old and crusty. I don't like this. Nothing against Celts or Catholics or anything, but it came to me that this is a true Celtic cross, not this. I mean, this is nice, via con Dios and all that shit. But if you go back in time and look at the old stuff, it's like, wow. So this joker set about examining whether it's possible or would make sense to change the layout of the Celtic cross so that we could get much more information and more detail on what the cards are actually telling us. And the whole point of taking my course, and most of you here are in my course, thank you very much. I appreciate that. 1 second here. Yes. So the whole point of all this, and I want to be able to expand this so I can see you guys. Hello, everybody here. Is to really strip mine the spread. Now, keep in mind, we strip mine. Oops, strip mine. I'm not liking this. Let me just make that 3. I knew that was a mistake. Let's make that 7. Yeah, it's better. So we strip mine and let's make this 50%. Oh, hey. Oh, that's nice. So we strip mine the spread. Strip mine the spread for information. We don't try to strip mine each card for information. And this is where a lot of readers make a mistake. Oh, I just do a 3-card spread. 3-card spread. I got a 3-card spread for anything. There's books by crappy artists. Excuse me, not crappy artists. There's books by crappy authors. Here's a 3-card spread for everything. No, you're hurting yourself. I promise you. I got nothing to gain from this. Hell, this is free, right? So when I say you're hurting yourself doing, as I'm pointing at the screen, doesn't really help a lot, right? Because you can't really see it. When I say you're hurting yourself doing a 3-card spread, I'm telling you flat out, you're being lazy. You're not getting enough information. You're trying to pull more information out of each card than is actually there. There's a time and a place for the 3-card spreads, expansions, add-ons, free spreads. But when you're trying to answer a question, you want more information at your disposal, not less. And it takes the same amount of time to shuffle properly for a 10-card spread, for example, the Celtic Cross, versus a 3-card spread. And going, oh, well, that's okay because I don't do a 3-card spread. I do a 17-card spread blob. You may not call it blob, but here's a whole bunch of cards. I just throw a whole bunch of cards down and I go, well, this card says this card says this card says. The problem is you don't have perspective. The reason why we have fixed position spreads, bling, bling, bling. This card means this card means this card means that. That's everything, that fixed position. Reason why we have fixed position spreads, even like past, present, future, is we know that whatever card comes up here will relate to that part of the question. And again, that part of the question and that part of the question. This makes your job infinitely easier. So when we have something like the old and crusty, boring Celtic Cross spread that it was like, I don't do that. I do fancy spreads because I need Celtic Cross, baby. The reason why we do this with the Celtic Cross or even have a Celtic Cross is it's an overview spread. It's like, ooh, I get a bird's eye view of everything that's going on. Oh no, is that a Polish firing squad? Sorry about that. There's an old joke, and I do not tell ethnically centered jokes. But the idea is that you don't have people all firing into the center. But now you see that you're like, oh, this is what's going on. So you don't just get the answer; you get a whole bunch of parts that collectively give you the answer. So when you're reading, a large spread, realize that the cards are not going to tell you what's going on. Sorry, the cards aren't going to tell you the answer. The cards are going to tell you this part of the answer, that part of the answer, that part of the answer, and then you have to summarize. And you have to see, oh, but this part of the answer does not get along with this part of the answer. Yes, they're both correct and valid because you verified them, right? But just like life, it's like you get a whole bunch of people at a party. Well, these people don't like each other, so I hang out with here and hang out with here. But I really want to hang out here. But Becky's hanging out with him, so I don't want to hang out with Becky. So I'll be going and hang over here because I know Becky likes him. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever. That's what you want to see in a spread. Is you want to see conflict and you want to see communion. But every card has to prove itself properly. And this is the beauty of something like the Celtic Cross spread: is you can verify everything before you open your mouth and make yourself look like a chump or worse. Because remember, there are skeptics out there, and even people who aren't skeptics, and like, well, what do okay. So before you do that, you can verify all the information. Now, we're not going to go into all of that today because A, time, and B, that's what I get paid for, is to teach you the good stuff. But I want to show you a variation of the Celtic Cross spread. So let's do this. Let's draw out as delicately and as carefully as I can Waite's version of the ancient 10 card spread. And then, so y'all are familiar with this. Now, ask any questions at any time or make any complaints. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of move this down, this layer way down here, so I don't end up deleting it. Because, I do love me to delete some layers. I'll put it down here, and I'll call this just CC. But I'm going to make this make it really hard to read so we can, or see. So you might be able to see it, you might not, but that's the whole point, is I want that over there. Then we're going to work in blue. Blue, right? Yes, okay, good. That works. I'm going to show you some of the advanced things we can do with the Celtic Cross, and then we're going to build the new Celtic Cross and show you what you can do with that. If we have time, and we probably won't, we'll do a speed reading of the Celtic Cross, the new version, so you can see all that. If we run out of time, maybe we'll do that next week. So, a couple of things here. And we're only talking about the version of the Celtic Cross that you're going to learn in either Power Tarot or, for example, my book, or other books. Because again, I didn't invent this version of the Celtic Cross that we're looking at here. This is the first one I learned as a kid. Age 11, from a coffee table book on divination. Ooh, I'm going to take a drink. Everybody take a drink. And we're back. All right, right? So everything I say relates to that version of the Celtic Cross. If you're using a Celtic Cross version from the moon, it might mean something else. So here we have card position 7, and here we have card position 9. For simplicity, I'm going to say these cards represent what you fear or don't want or want less of, and it all depends whether you're using this for divination, problem solving, manifestation. But generally speaking, this is what you don't want, what you're afraid of, what you want less of, and yada yada, or et cetera, depending on what part of the world you're from. This card here, this is what you're hoping to achieve. Nom nom nom. Yay! Hey, Mika. Mika's funny. Right. So we have that down, right? So, and this is other people's, I'm going to put other people nosing into your business. So we're going to give them a big nose, like they're like, "What are you doing? I'm sticking my nose in your business." Now this could be good, right? Um, or it could be somebody helping you, or it could be somebody interfering. But this right here represents outside forces or people, not you, not the spread protagonist. Again, if you know what the spread protagonist is, uh, Advanced Tarot Secrets is $20. Actually, it's less on Amazon. It was supposed to be $1 per tarot trump, and Amazon said, no, we'll discount the price. I'm like, but don't you get it? It's like 22. There's 22 cards. Screw it. That's how that was. I really should charge $56 for that book, because then nobody ever buy it. It's so awesome. So these are generally unseen. We don't generally tell people what we're afraid of. Sure, we like to complain or whatnot, but we don't go broadcasting, "Hey, I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. I hope nobody sees me naked." Blah blah blah. Generally speaking, people keep their fears to themselves. We all love to tell people, "I'm going to be a millionaire next year. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that," and blah blah blah. And that's wonderful. We like telling people what we want to achieve. So this tends to be more public, and this tends to be more private. And this, sometimes people working against us, some more for us, could be behind the scenes or obvious. Now, card position 1, 2, 3 is foundational. Well, what did I do there? Card position 3 is foundational, so it would tend to be behind the scenes, right? It's it's not overt. It's not necessarily things that are known. And a lot of times, the whole point of this card is that it is unknown or unseen. So, card position 3 is generally hidden. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, card position 5 is what the spread protagonist is expecting, what hangs over you and could come to be. Or more modernly, I've kind of adjusted my thoughts. Hey, Cherie, I hope it's your first time, or if it isn't, hello, welcome. We're kind of doing the Celtic Cross in a new version of it, so that's what we got into. And this recording will probably put up on YouTube for the sake of just people being able to see this. So somebody please take notes on what we talked about, because I'm going to be lost in this. So with card position 5 being your sense of expectation, well, that's kind of akin, not similar, not meaning the same thing, but like BFFs with either this card or this card, depending on the circumstance. If we're expecting the worst, probably aligns with our fears. If we're expecting the best, then it probably aligns with our ding, 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 ding. Can I erase them all? Let's find out. Oh, noes, I can't. Well, that's fine. So card position 5 would align with our hopes and dreams. Now, this will change because in reality it changes. I mean, we have people who are pessimists or people who are optimists, and then we have people who are optimists but go, what is it in Star Wars? I got a bad feeling about this, Luke Skywalker said that. I mean, Mark Hamill said that about the new Star Wars. He was like, I just saw a video where collection of Mark Hamill on video saying, I don't like the new Star Wars. Like, wow, okay. Okay. But it's interesting. So why is all this important? Let's change colors here. Let me get rid of this pink and create, I don't want to do the orange again. Maybe we'll do like a green. Give me 1 second here. Photoshop, fun with Photoshop. That's really, green hurts the eyes. Let's try something a little bit less. Let's do that. It'll be like kind of dark green. Okay, so X and zip. Oh my God, look at what we have here. This is what I like to call, and this is an advanced class, but I want you guys to understand this is how the new Celtic Cross was built. This is called the psychological. Did I spell that right? Psychological horizon, right? If we look at this, all of the cards here may or may not be obvious to the casual observer. Back in 1984, I was reading the new tax bill that Reagan was putting forth. I know, hundreds and hundreds of pages. And it was like, there was a great line in there. It said, it is obvious to the most casual observer, which is a way of saying, if you don't see this, you're full. So I like that line. It's stuck in my head all these years. So these may or may not be obvious to the casual observer. That being said, matter of fact, let's do this because I don't want to. Oh no! I'll tell you what. Let me get rid of that P. And what I should have done, was where's eraser? There's eraser. Right. Oh yay! It's racing. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'll put on a new layer, right? So let's go. Let's drop this layer down here. So moving here, these may or may not be obvious to the casual observer. So here's our psychological horizon, right? So anything above this line is what you call public. If you know anything about astrology, this and hemispheres and whatnot, this will ring. If not, don't worry about it. There's some extra stuff. This is what we would call private. This is not always the case. There are no hard, fast gospel rules in the tarot. There's just ones that make a lot of sense, and then a lot of adaptability, because divination is an art, not a science. And the rule number one, which is supersedes all, is if what you're doing works, then you are right. Mika says, "Oh yes, copious amounts of notes were taken. Thank you very much, Mika." Nope, take off. This is important because after we read, we read all the cards. Read. Oh, we read all the cards, right? So we've done pass one. Now when we're passes 2, 3, 4, this kind of stuff, we can take a look at this. This is one of our hidden spreads, or below the psychological horizon. So what is motivating or directing the actions? If you remember the Wizard of Oz, it just happened to have green, right? Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. And that rat dog is like, drag, and here's the guy like working the bells and whistles and everything. Well, I am the mighty Oz. Flames. I am the great and powerful. So all of this stuff behind the green curtain, well, that's what we're looking at here. Whereas anything up here, our expectation. Oh no! You guess what? Astropad is acting up again, so we're going to be very delicate here. So everything up here in card 5, our expectations, our hopes and dreams, and the outcome, for better or worse. These things have a propensity to be extremely public, also known as the internet. Anything here is probably going to be seen, where here these are hidden forces. And then anything along here, a little of this, a little from column A, a little from column B. So that being said, let's take a look at the quote new version or true Celtic Cross and why I made it so. Now, first off, remember, this being a Celtic Cross, it's hard to make a Celtic Cross if you have this. It's like, well, that's kind of phallic, and it's like, that's just too sexual. So kids at home don't watch that. So we're going to take it back to the original Celtic design, keeping in mind the Celtics didn't. It's Celtics, Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics did not have tarot cards, although there was a basketball tarot. That'd be it's. I think they could have done better, but it was kind of cute that they made a basketball tarot, and I think the Boston Celtics should make a this is going to lead up to a really bad pun, right? Boston Celtics should make a tarot deck so they can have the Celtic Cross spread and use that in manifestation to rebuild their empire. As a matter of fact, they're in the playoffs this year, so hopefully they'll destroy Cleveland, and then they can build their empire after the Oakland Warriors, of course, destroy them. So with this new Celtic Cross version that I'm calling the true Celtic Cross, and I hope that's not too arrogant, we retain positions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's nothing new to learn. All of this makes sense. See, we still have our circle, or if you prefer, we're still retaining our spiral. But instead of going like this, we're going to continue the spiral because we see this shape in nature, and we see this a lot in Celtic art, the Triskel, the spiral, etc., etc. So we're going to go cards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to go 7, 8, 9, and 10 to create a true Celtic Cross, or if you prefer. Now, all of the card positions remain the same. This is the only card that is sideways, and you can lay it down where that is facing up, or you can lay it down where that is facing up. That's a personal thing. thing that I want you to be aware of is that we're going just like the Celtic Cross 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But now we're going to go 7. We're going to keep going around in a circle. 8, 9, and 10. We have a true Celtic Cross. This is where the magic unfolds. We retain our psychological horizon. Cards 3 and 7 being foundational or beneath the surface are easy to compare when we get to the point of hidden spreads and cross comparing and whatnot. And cards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, see, cards 5, blah, 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 cards 9, our expectations, see, same thing here. Our expectations and our desires are also easy to compare. Or, if you want to get fancy, let me switch this here because I want you to see why this is so awesome. I'm going to go to that horrible orange. Orange, glad I didn't say banana. So we can take our expectations and either compare them to our hopes or, well, or, it's not like I want you to do one or the other. Or we can take our expectations and say, well, this is what I'm afraid of. Or this is what the foundation is, because these things have as much influence on our expectations as our hopes and dreams do. So in this way, we have created areas and segments. Here is card 6 and here is card 10. Well, we know when we're reading the Celtic Cross, card 6 is a gateway that leads directly to the outcome. So card 6, this happens, let's go, this happens, which leads to the outcome. So the prince rescued the fair maiden and slayed the dragon, and they all lived happily ever after. Yay! So this happens, and then that happens. Now, we also have the past events that are relevant to this particular circumstance. Not just any old past experience, but let's see. Uh-oh. It did it again. Sorry. I don't know why AstroPad is being a pain in the butt, but we work around it, right? So we have the past events and other people's meddling. These two things work together to shape what's happening now, and they will continue to influence what's going to happen and how it's going to work out. So we can look to here to see the outcome. We look to here to see the outcome. We look to here to see the outcome. We can compare this against that. We can compare this against that. We can use all of these against that. Just like So it makes it easier for us to do advanced reading and advanced spread techniques. Again, every card position remains the same. If this is what you're afraid of, and this is other people's meddling, and this is what you hope for, and this is the outcome, well, that all stays the same. This is what you're afraid of. This is other people's meddling. This is what you're hoping for. And see our hopes, pie in the sky hopes, fears. We have this interesting way as humans of connecting or relating things that are bad with down, hell or Hades or below the ground or nefarious or unseen or mysterious. That's all pointing down. And then things that are up, birdies and angels and the concept of being angelic in our higher selves. We naturally have a built-in into our psyche and our psychological outlook. We tend to think that up is good and down is bad. Well, this works out well because we're playing off of S when we're building the spread this way, you know, the Celtic Cross spread rather than the that weight puts together. So we're incorporating the spiral and the circle and the cross, which are all seen in nature. Right. So the whole point is take the last four cards and just continue around. So instead of going this way, go that way, and then just go around. Ding, blip, 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 blip. So it's not just, hey, here's an interesting way of making a cross instead of a cross and a circle. That I wanted to show you. And again, all of this is explained in the course. It's $10 a week. But for right now, this is free because I like sharing. There are specific reasons why this new spread or this new layout of the same spread gives you infinitely more information. Now, in my course, I teach you how to get 3 to 5 times more information than the average bear who is reading a tarot deck. As a Yogi Bear reference, not saying bears read tarot. So if we do that, now we can add an extra 20 to 30% on top of that by using a better tool. So spreads, your tarot deck, these are tools that allow your intuition to blossom and flow, because that is the gateway or your communication essence with the divine. It's supposed to be some clouds or whatever. So by giving you a better tool or a power tool, we can give you techniques that are better, that will help you make more sense out of the world. So easy peasy, right? Does anybody have any questions? Sally says, when you do an in-person reading and use the Celtic Cross spread, do you personally use the one the public knows because they expect it, or do you use one because it reads well? That's a good question. So what we have here is, when I'm doing a reading, asking a question to me, which spread do I use? Do I go with the one the public knows, or do I go with the one that reads better? It is always my fervent desire to be as blatantly honest with you as possible and as uncensored, because when you censor yourself, you open yourself up to lies and deceit and deception. So, yeah, occasionally I screw up. Occasionally I will fall back, I'm not thinking, and I will use the old-fashioned one, but I don't use it because that's what people expect. And that's a good question, because I'm not here to play into the fears or superstitions of my clients. They haven't been taught how to read. Fuck them. It's like when I go to the mechanic. My mechanic can show me a whole bunch of stuff, or he can just say, "Hey, boy, let me do my job." I'm like, okay, I'll just open my checkbook and add a couple of zeros here. So there's a sign in the mechanic shops that I absolutely love. You guys have probably seen it in this big sign here, and it says labor rate $75 an hour. If you watch, $85 an hour. If you help, $100 an hour, and so on and so on. This is one other thing there. So the idea is that even mechanics, and again, I don't mean to disparage mechanics, are awesome, but even mechanics are like, hey, shut up and let me do my job. Now, if that's the case out in the real world, I would say, isn't it appropriate for us to politely say, shut up and let me do my job? Meaning, use the tool that you prefer, that works for you. And if you like this new spread or this new variation, it's not even a variation, it's just a way of laying them out. Because I haven't changed the meanings of the cards. The only thing we've done is shifted the cards around. It's like literally you could cast a Celtic Cross spread 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You could do that. and you could, the shape Now, I don't know why you would do that, but if you want to, you could do that. Or you could go, let's see, this is the past, present, future, and then this is what you want, and this is here, and the outcome's going to be over here, and the things in the past are here, and I mean, you could do any of that stuff. That looks like 60%. I'm going to change that. Okay, so excuse me, you could do that, but the essence is so we haven't changed this. But the direct answer is that yes, I use this version because I will always use the best tool or technique that I have at my disposal, uh, unless I forget. And that's the problem with doing this spread. Matter of fact, you guys, I'll just increase the problem with doing this spread over and over for what is it, 40 some years now is low 40s. Thank you very much. I'm 37. I'm not old. Crap. Yeah, the problem with doing this is that it's so easy to to get trapped in habits, and that's just no excuse. So want to be careful about that. So yeah, good question. Yeah, Mika, put in a document, please. Thank you very much. So we got a few more minutes here. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody like this spread? Does anybody not like this spread? Can I get a witness? Can I get an amen? Can I get a go to hell? Yay, Allie's here. And Anita's here. Yay, Anita. Anita almost made it to the last one, but she did get to listen, so that's nice. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy that. Thinking about how it turns over when you deal face down. Same thing. If you are dealing cards out face down, that's another advanced technique. All right, so dealing cards out face down. Blah, 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 blah. Here, great. You know what? Sorry about that. I'm having a problem with Astropad crashing, and I think I need to talk to the folks at Astropad. So let's just say that's your spread. Here are the cards in your hand. Now, if you that's a bad drawing. Let's make it a rectangle, not a square. So I'm going to do two of these. Each one of these is independent of the other. So this is example one and example two. So if you have your cards in your hand, so like here's your thumb, and then your fingers, I guess, kind of go over here. So you're holding your cards. If you flip the cards over, meaning that end flips upside down, then the cards are facing toward you, and then when you flip them, they're upright. I call that flipping your cards. Or if you are holding your cards in your hand, okay, again, there's your thumb and your fingers. This is assuming, I guess, that you're left-handed. However, you're left-handed, right-handed, whatever. If you rotate the cards, or as I say, turning, sure, why not, the cards, then the cards that are upright will remain upright. Don't put a whole lot of thought into this. Don't go, oh, I don't want the cards facing me or reversed or whatever. That'll really get in your head. I've gone through that. But there are two ways. There's another way I'd like to know, but there's two ways that I'd say 100% of readers do. And then the exception proves the rule. But it's natural for you to either turn the card, maybe this is the card in your hand, so you turn it, just right, you flip it over, or you flip it over. Either way is applicable. I happen to use this method, so other people use that method. So I want to let you know that there's not one better way or the other. Now, if you're dealing out the cards face down, and then you flip them as you need them, remember that from your perspective, here are the cards. Here are the cards in your deck. For example, they're on the table. Slide the card so it's exactly as it would be. Just slide it right off the deck. You don't loop-de-loop and flip the card back upside down. I mean, that's probably painfully obvious, but just to make sure, we don't loop it around, and then it is facing. So the cards, when they're on the table, should be facing the same direction as they were when they were in the deck. Therefore, if you flip your cards, then flip it. If you turn your card, then it will be the same direction. So when you reach down to make the card from face down to face up, probably could have phrased that better, more properly. All you have to do is remember, and it's muscle memory, and it's something you get used to really quickly, but it's something we probably should talk about. If you're going to deal the cards face down, you always want to make sure that when you reach out for the cards, don't turn some and flip others. Again, it's a personal preference. That's the only thing as you stay with it. Now, as far as that, the position of the cards doesn't mean anything. Hell, if you want, you can deal them out in a pyramid, and you can call it the pyramid spread if you like. See, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, see, you could deal out your Celtic Cross in that if you want. However, let's see, what if we did that? We said these cards will be foundational. So this would be card 3, card 4, card 7, card 8. This would be card 10. This could be a 9, 6. I was getting kind of confusing. Maybe 5, 1, 2. What are we missing? 7. Oh no, yeah, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. There you go. It's 1, 2, 6. Yeah, it is too confusing. I would recommend that you not do that. However, if you want to, I suppose you could. It's not that dealing cards out in various strange ways is bad. It's that, as we saw from the example of the new, or as I call it, true Celtic Cross spread. And not like, oh, it's true, like I invented it. Oh, it's true. It's a true Celtic Cross. That's what you call it. So that's why I call it. You can call it whatever you want. Call me whatever you want, as long as I get my money next Friday. Dad, don't confront me, as long as I got my money next Friday. Out the door I went. So whatever you want to call it, the point is that if you use this spread, now you have your core 1 and 2. And if you guys are in my class, you read cards 1, then 2. So it's 1, then 2, then 1, 2. So you read this card, then you read that card, then you blend them together, because this is you on a picnic, and this is the environment of your picnic. And then so collectively, that tells us, did you have fun on your picnic? Because it was you and all the crap that was going on at the picnic, and that gives us a complete picture. So we have that, and then we have the stations. Oh no, it happened again. 3 and 7, and what did that be? 4 and 8, 5 and 9, 5, 7, 9. God, I know it's wrong. So when you do that, it's easier to compare the things together, or this against that, this against that, this against everybody against the middle. Everyone jumps the queen. Knight jumps queen. King jumps queen. Everybody jumps queen. So that's that. Questions. Loving the idea of the spread. Thank you very much. I like this variation. Thank you very much, Jennifer. You guys should try this out. Lynn, I like it a lot. Yay! Please try it. I promise you this. I'm very careful in my promises and guarantees because, legal things, but I can absolutely guarantee that you will like this. Okay, Mika says, I like the fact with the psychological horizon and such. Mika is in week 8. I think we come up to the psychological horizon around week 27, 29, because that's, deep into the black book. But even so, knowing where we're going, because the whole psychological horizon is part of the advanced techniques of reading patterns and finding the spreads that are hidden in the Celtic Cross. And this is what I mean by 3 to 5 times more information than the normal reader gets. Is that in this boring old Celtic Cross spread that everybody reads, and again, it crashed. Thank you very much for crashing. There's an expression in business about leaving money on the table. Well, we're leaving 70% of the information on the table when we read. I say we, people who haven't been trained properly, unfortunately. They're leaving 70% of the information still on the table. And we're not trying to strip mine every single card. We're not trying to look at it and go, oh, and there's this, and there's a cloud in the sky, and that means, and then there's this bird over here. It's like not every piece of information available to you on the card or in the so-called traditional meanings. Not all of that is applicable to every situation. It has no need to. There's 78 cards, which means they have to have a lot of information and a lot of potential meanings, but only the meanings that are pertinent to your client and their situation at this particular time are applicable. Did you spell that right? One hopes, right? Because it's public. Only that much information is pertinent. Now, if we want more information, if we want to go, that's where comparing and contrasting, and I know to some of my newbie students or people who haven't taken the course, this is a little bit much, and please, Christ, don't rush. Don't try to skip over the easy stuff going, well, I'll just do the advanced stuff because I can handle it. There's so many things that have to factor into this. And Mika said it earlier today. She does the exercises, if possible, every single day. Because again, she's in week 8 out of 40, and then we have advanced stuff goes on beyond that. Stop crushing on me. I really need to 30 weeks beyond. It looks like an home sign. Beyond the course, and then we have live stuff constantly and new techniques that we're always bringing to you. So practice the exercises, do the games. In other words, treat yourself well and get a lot of experience before you start rushing in to read for people. Because when you're on stage reading for people, you've got all of this information in front of you, and you've got all of this information that you need to pull out of the spread, not out of the individual cards, but the interplay and interrelationships. We will say that some cards are friends and some are enemies, or some card positions are friends and some are enemies. For example, just in card positions 9 and 7, in the Black Book, we have a game called Friends and Enemies, and we have several variations on that. Well, these cards are natural enemies, whereas the Expectations, card 5, could be more aligned to this or that. And so all of these things will be painfully clear in the spread that you cast for your client if you've done your spread right, if you have talked to your client, if you've done your spread verification, if you've done your pre-spread mental walkthrough, etc., yada, and so on and so forth. So To that extent, it is my fervent belief that the, uh, as I call it, true Celtic Cross spread will serve you better and make your job easier, both as a beginner right now and as an advanced student. You're getting all of this stuff. And then as an expert, you've been doing this for a long time. You got all kinds of repeat clients and referrals and whatnot. So just by changing the order of the final four cards, everything else remains the same. We're not learning any new techniques. We're not um, we're not changing anything up. We're just moving the cards around to make them easier to read for ourselves. It's like that pyramid spread. And if we did a pyramid spread, why can't we do an inverted pyramid spread? Who's to say that this is better than that, right? Maybe we need to do a double inverted, do a double pyramid spread. That's okay. Now we're getting really crazy. Super advanced stuff. We'll talk about that in the private class maybe next week or whatever. So, any other questions on this? Let's see. Thinking about okay. Leslie says, "Thank you. Love the spread. Thanks for the explanations. They help so much when thinking about meanings and how to express them." Thank you very much, Leslie. So again, this might be a little bit more advanced than you're at right now, but this definitely shows you where we're going. And when we add in all of those advanced spread techniques, this is really going to make sense. Now, once again, just so we're very clear on this, the same amount of effort that it takes you to cast a 3-card spread. And I get really angry at these so-called authors that are like, here's a 3-card spread, or here's a book of meanings. You don't have to do any work. Just come back here and read my ebook in the middle of casting a spread for your client and go, oh, excuse me, I've got to check my iPad or open the book. It's like, yeah, so this card means this. Or, memorize. No, you do not. You're not allowed to open up a book on card meanings while you're reading for someone, especially if they're paying for it. Believe me, I did this for 15 years the wrong way. Oh my God. I tell you this because I want you to know that I have personally made probably every mistake you'll ever make. And the ones that I haven't, I've worked with hundreds of professional readers who all made the mistakes. Did blame it back in my day, we didn't have the internet. And then, you know what? I'm lucky enough to be old enough to say that. The hundreds of psychics that I worked with for years and years, there was no internet. I mean, technically, there was the ARPANET, and there was the was it BBSs, the bulletin board services. I mean, but it was, and even back in the early '90s, if you wanted to go online, you had to make a website, which was printed and bought, and then you had to get like Yahoo and Alta Vista there was no Google. There was no Google. You had Yahoo and Alta Vista and Hotbot and these other places to list your search engine. So it's not like we had all this information. We had each other. We sat around and sang Kumbaya, and it was awesome. We had the original study groups. We were all pros. It's not like we all studied with each other, but we'd have our discussion groups. So we didn't have this, so we had to learn things the hard way. Now that everybody and their dog is an author, and I applaud that. I like the fact that everybody can express themselves, and I want to be very clear. One of my earliest books was How to Write a Great Book in Just Under 2 weeks and Then Sell It Fast. I never published it. You guys can all have a free copy of it. I mean, it's easy to find, and if not, I'll send you the PDF. But I warn you, it's horribly out of date. Not the writing techniques. The techniques are awesome, but the marketing techniques, it's old and outdated, and it probably still work to some extent. But there's newer versions and better stuff, and anybody can tell you how to market a book. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there. So while I support people writing a book, it doesn't mean that everybody who picks up a tarot book should become an author on the subject, or anybody who plagiarizes what is already out there, even though it's public domain, should become an author on the subject. So beware of what you read on the internet and don't take it as gospel. Try it out, see if it works. If it doesn't, throw it away. Same thing with a lot of crappy tarot books out there. Not to disparage other authors, but if somebody's putting out crap, yeah, I'm going to disparage the hell out of them. So I don't like the idea that people are out there writing books on keywords or 3-card blobs and saying, oh, here, all you need is a 3-card blob, and here's a book of meanings where you can open the book in the middle of a reading and go, oh, yeah, and then there's this, and oh, yeah, there's that, oh, yeah, there's that. Because now you're reading formulaically, you're not using your intuition. You have to use your intuition. Otherwise, you're doing a disservice to your client. So with the same amount of effort, let's see, you got to get a client. How much effort is it going to take to get a client? How many dollars do you need to spend on client acquisition? If you've never been in business, you need to learn this stuff. Right. So you've done all that. Now, let's see, you've got your client. You got to shuffle your cards. You got to talk to your client, find out what they want to know, verify what you know, decide the question in your head, shuffle, 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 ding. Get the ding because you're not going to throw out random cards. Please tell me none of you are throwing out random cards. Now, all of that is the same amount of effort to get 3 cards or let's say a 10-card spread in the Celtic Cross, whether you use the true Celtic Cross or the old and busted Celtic Cross. It's not 2.5 Men in Black reference. So I say these things because probably grandpa's references go right over your head. No, it was Shakespearean. No, it wasn't. So the same amount of effort that you do that and to do it wrong or to embarrass yourself, that same amount of effort, you just deal out a few more cards. And then by doing it properly, you extract so much more valuable, precise, accurate, detailed, specific information. That's why I do this. That's why I'm constantly ranting. And that's why men aren't from Mars and women aren't from Venus. And that's why that book is in the trash can, because this is crap and this guy should be sued for poisoning the minds of the public. Unfortunately, never will be because Oprah loves him. It's like, really? Wait till Aphrodite's Book of Key Secrets comes out and I destroy all that. Right. So, ranty rant. I enjoy the better learning to tell a story. Thank you very much. This was a great class. Glad I was able to be here today. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yay. Old and busted or new hotness? Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank y'all for being here. Really appreciate that. Guess we've got an hour. If anybody has any last minute questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will throw this up on YouTube in case you ever want to torture yourself by having to watch it again, or if you have any questions. And when it's on YouTube, you can post comments. Otherwise, please come back here next Saturday. You're certainly welcome. And if we don't have an agenda, we'll figure something out. And if we do, I'll probably just dominate the class to go blah, 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 blah. The whole point of this is that this is factual, not boasting, #1 best-selling author on the tarot, best reviewed book in history. Please, for the love of Christ, if you have questions, use me, abuse me, spit me out, whatever, I'm here to help. If you guys don't have questions, then that means you guys are awesome and you're doing it right. Other than that, I'll just keep doing this until I get bored. So let's see. Your rants are appreciated. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see. Thank you for the explanation. We'll do PDF in a bit. Thank you, Mika. Yay, Fred. Fred, have an excellent weekend. Dusty is from Mars, Sam from Venus. That's funny, Fred. You are awesome. All right, so y'all take care of yourself, and we'll get together soon. In the meantime, you know how to reach me if you have any questions. Bye for now.